Hi, I'm Ashley, and 1 year ago I had a breast reduction. Here's my road to reduction. Welcome to episode 7. It's dangerous to go alone. Prep this! In the last episode, we covered pre-op appointments, and in this one, we're going to start talking about things you can do to prep your house and yourself and all your needs for surgery. As you can tell from the title, I am a huge video game nerd, and I just found the idea of prepping like you do before going into battle for a video game a perfect analogy for how I approach surgery. So in this podcast, it's going to be a little bit different than the rest. It's not going to be a story so much as a list with rationales for how I found things to be useful, for what objects really helped with surgery, and I do want to give a huge shout out to our reduction over on Reddit. That subreddit was phenomenal for helping me get prepared for surgery and feel like I was ready for battle, and they have some great ideas for things that worked for them, didn't work for them. Everybody's a little bit different, so it was great to hear everybody's approach to surgery. So I want to start by talking about some of the items that are helpful to have in place pre-surgery, post-surgery, to just have around. I'm also going to talk about some meds and just setting up your space so you are the most comfortable you can be after surgery. Before going into surgery, the best item I bought that I used after surgery was a wedge pillow in my bed. And I saw a ton of people on our reduction who slept in recliners, but I didn't have one in my house. So that wedge pillow that keeps your back lifted is just phenomenal, because sleeping flat on my back was not comfortable at all for me. And I also, if I was laying flat, couldn't get up easily because you're not supposed to put a lot of weight on your arms or shoulders the first few days. So that was just phenomenal for me. Also, button-up shirts, front button or zip shirts are a godsend. I actually went to Goodwill and bought several men's dress shirts because I find them to be really comfortable to relax in, and also because they were super roomy. And I just bought some extra large button-up dress shirts because you are not able to get things off over your head easily at all. So I recommend getting some very comfy PJs, PJ pants, leggings, whatever you know you're going to be able to just relax in. The more comfortable you can make yourself in general, the more comfortable the healing process will feel. Also, you are going to have a lot of downtime, so make sure that you have something to do. So books, magazines, videos, a Netflix subscription, all of these are great ideas. I did find that I couldn't really hold the book for long periods of time the first few days after surgery because that was just exhausting. So for me, reading came later in my healing phase just because it was way more effort than I was willing to expend at first. Also, I recommend comfort food as part of that whole getting yourself comfortable and relaxed. But also, in addition to the comfort food, nausea food, because for me, the anesthesia was not good to my body. And so I was very nauseous for the first day and a half. So make sure to have that around. Additionally, you're going to want a second surgical bra. So my surgical team sent me home in the first compression surgical bra, and then gave a second one to my parents because that way I could always be wearing one and washing the other when it was dirty. And it was really nice to be able to swap those out pretty much daily because they get smelly. And speaking of smelly, you're going to get smelly. You can't shower right away. So I recommend baby wipes or face wipes or dry shampoo or all of the above, whatever you need to do to keep yourself clean. Because I felt pretty gross by the time I could actually shower. Oh, also, for the drive home, if you have a slightly longer drive, you're probably going to want a pillow to put underneath the seatbelt so the seatbelt is not crossing your chest. And you don't want that pressure right after surgery. It's very uncomfortable. For me, I also have several earrings in my ear, and those were not allowed during surgery because in case they were doing some cauterization, that could be a health issue. So I had to swap them out for a plastic hoop to keep those earrings open. So if you have metal jewelry around your body, just know that you're going to want a plastic replacement. So thinking med-wise now, when you come home from surgery, you're going to be swapping out gauze and all kinds of stuff, so I really recommend some larger non-stick gauze pads to be able to have clean ones at hand, and the surgeon will probably give you some too. I know they gave me a good amount, but I just like changing them daily. It helped make me feel a little bit cleaner, so I went through them a little quicker than what I needed to. Additionally, you should probably have extra strength Tylenol. My doctor recommended that in addition to the prescription pain meds that he had given. And I only ended up using the prescription pain meds for the first 3 days. And then I was extra strength Tylenol all the way. So don't feel like you have to. Some people have said that they don't use the prescription pain meds at all. But my pain was pretty intense, so I definitely needed it. And also, I got some Pepto because Tylenol can upset your stomach. And it also helped with the nausea after the whole anesthesia thing. With all of these fun meds, you may also want a stool softener or a laxative or something to help keep you regular, fiber, something. I really recommend that because it's very easy in these first few days to not pay attention to what your body is doing and cause some digestive issues with that. Another recommendation from me would be to get some melatonin to help you sleep. You would think after surgery all your body would want to do would be sleeping, but I found it actually very hard to fall asleep once I got through the intensive pain meds and was just on Tylenol. So melatonin was a huge help for me falling asleep. I know this seems like a really random and out there list. I'm just trying to go through all the things that were helpful for me. The one thing I really regret was I did not get my bedroom set up before I left for surgery. Like, I had clean sheets and I had everything, but I didn't stop to think about what I would really want it to be like when I got there. So make sure your bed is all set up with your wedge pillow. I had extra pillows so I couldn't roll over that I needed to bring in that I didn't think to set up before. But the biggest thing I didn't think of was I have a nightstand beside my bed, which is great for having all of the pain meds, having water, having everything there. Except to reach it, I have to reach backwards when I'm lying on the bed. You can't. Right up front, you cannot reach backwards at first because it is the most painful thing ever. So you're going to want to make an adjustment if you have a nightstand or get a stand that is up further and make sure that you are not reaching behind you. Additionally, anything that you might use in the next few days should be shoulder height or lower because reaching above your shoulders is very uncomfortable. And my doctor had actually asked me to limit it as much as possible so we wouldn't pull on stitches or reopen wounds. So plates, cups, bowls, all of that came down to my countertops out of my cupboards for a little bit. Just all kinds of things that you use daily we keep tucked away here and there, and you don't realize how much you're reaching or bending until you're like, I really need this thing down there and I can't get it. So just kind of go through your house before and ask yourself, what are you going to need, especially after your helpers are gone or if they're at work or whatever. What things do I need to be able to reach comfortably right now and make sure that it's there? And lastly, this one is going to sound so ridiculous, but lastly, do some ab work before. So getting out of bed was a challenge for me once I got back from surgery. Because you are not supposed to put weight on your arms or shoulders or anything to lift you at first. So laying in bed, even though I was on this wedge pillow, I still needed to get upward motion, which you have to use your abs for. And I did not have strong abs and found it to be a challenge to get out of bed or off the couch at times. In fact, I have a really funny story. When we got home from surgery, I wanted to lay on my nice, new, wonderful, comfy couch, which is a sectional, and I have hardwood floors. And so I plopped myself down and I snuggled into the couch and I slid 2 sections apart and got my butt stuck in between them. And then I couldn't get out because I couldn't use my arms and I didn't have any ab muscle and I couldn't roll over. So I literally, within 10 minutes of being home, I literally got myself stuck in a couch and had to get help from my parents to get out of said couch. So think about where you're going to be when you get back from surgery, and make sure that it's ready for you, because I did not do that, and that made my adventures a bit more interesting. So as always, at the end, I just want to thank you for listening, for being a part of this podcast, for sharing it with people who need it. I do want to say that this is a major life-changing surgery. This is not just cosmetic. It can be for some people, but the majority of women are getting this because their life is being impacted by the weight they carry daily, and they can't stand to be in pain, they can't stand to deal, they can't stand to give up so much of the things they have. So I just want to keep that in the back of your mind, that this is an important life-changing journey for you or for someone you know, and if you could just help spread that word, that would be amazing. And as always, if you have questions for me, comments, feedback, you want to learn more about my journey, you want to share some of your journey, you have anything at all you want to say, the best way to reach me is email. It is roadtoreductionpodcast@gmail.com. I am also on Twitter @roadtoreduction. You can find the podcast on YouTube, Soundcloud, Podbean, and iTunes under Road to Reduction, and there is a WordPress blog, roadtoreductionpodcast.wordpress.com. I would love to hear about your journey. I would love to answer questions you may have. I'd love to see what you are curious about. Feel free to reach out anytime. So once again, I am Ashley. 1 year ago, I had a breast reduction, and thanks for joining me on my road to reduction. Music is Like Music CDK Mix by CDK, copyright 2013. It's licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike license.